Hey team, this softball call is so touching. It will bring tears to your eyes. But the main thing is we wanted to impact you to impact others. So what you do and what you say, you might think your kids, your friends might not be listening or paying attention, but surely one day you will find out that they were listening. And how you impact them, you can impact them positive or negative. It's up to you. Now enjoy this one, because this call will last a lifetime. Well, it's time for me to do my impacts. I want to impact a male and a female that impacted my life during the softball time. I want to start with Big Tex, better known as Henry Hunt, better known as Big Tex, however you knew him, but he the one talked me into starting the softball league with him up at Beckley Center. And so we started it, and man, there was so many people from one end to the other. I mean, people standing up, the stands were full, and we were impacting a lot of people's lives. And Big Tex Hunt, taught me, hey, because I thought he was going to do it just to sell trophies. But no, it was in his heart that he wanted to make people happy. So he was one of my greatest impact. He said, well, and then we started at Keys Park, and they were going to build Keys Park Fields, the fence at 250 feet. We went down. I was on the park board then, because me and Big Tex went down and talked to him about starting a league at Beckley Center. And the people in the park department said, this man knows so much about the park. We need to see if we can get him to be on the park board. I served on the park board 13 and a half years. Ended up being the longest serving park board member in the history of Dallas. Still 13 and a half is still standing. Anyway, I told him you can't make Keys Park no 250-foot fence limit, because you would lose all major tournaments. And they looked at it and researched it, and sure enough, they made them 300-foot fences. Okay, the next person that impacted my life was one of my softball players, Loretta Lister. Super woman, super sweet, super nice, super friendly, super loving. I mean, this lady, she was a, basketball player. She bought the state championship to SOC 2 years in a row in basketball. So we was, she's a super athlete, and she would run up and down that court. But Loretta could hit a ball all the way to the fence or out the fence, and she stopped on second base all the time. And everybody would say, and Lo would say, the base was loaded, coach. I got the second base. It's up to them heifers to get me home. And so that was so funny. But in Lo's last days, she told me, she said, Whit, I truly appreciate you being my friend. And I said, I will forever be your friend. And so she said, because you helped so many people. And from that day on, I continue to help people, because that's what Loretta said, what she saw in me. And I didn't want that to die. All right, I'm going to move on before I start tearing up and see who's next. All right, ladies and gentlemen, our next player up is better known as Peanut. Peanut, you got the floor.
Hi, I would like the person that impacted my life was William Mo Jackson. He scared me at first, coming up behind the fence and saying, ooh, you need to come and play for me. And I was like, who are you? So he impacted my life on staying in school, don't get pregnant, at the park 7 days a week, even after a tournament, we was at the park early the next day. I said, Mo, I'm tired. And he said, you can't get no better if you got to put the work in, because you have to be better than the other people. You the youngest, you the baby. You got to do good. And he made me a better person on, get your education and put God first, and everything else will fall in place. But I really do miss Mo. I think about him often.
That's a great testimony. I appreciate it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, our next player up is Big Shirley out of Sweet Poke. Come on, Shirley, tell us something. Who impacted you?
The person that impacted me was Beverly Lovett. I ended up got exposed to play in the women's major level, and I've been playing pretty much over a decade or 20 years. And also we play together still, and the 15 older. So, you know, she opened my eyes and let me see the level that what softball was meant to me, because I always once I got to meet her, I was trying to realize, you know, playing ball is just playing ball, but it wasn't, you know. And I always said, one day I'm going to play at that level. When I first saw her play, I said, man, these people can really play. And I always said, and then I seen many friends was there, you know, some that I knew, was introduced to. And I said, one day I'm going to be on the same field with them. I'm going to work hard and be on that same field. And that day came that we were teammates, and we worked together, and we played together. We had the structure together. And that was one of the exciting things in my softball career, was playing on the team as a major ball player with her.
All right, that's outstanding. All right, team, next player up, Ray Herndon. Go ahead, Ray, you got the floor.
Okay, then. The person that inspired me, that I was motivated by from softball, was not somebody that most people are going to know, because it was somebody that I did back in the mid-'70s. When I was working for Southwestern Bell, a white guy did it, and I used to play a lot of red basketball, leg basketball, and then I had a bad knee, and knee surgery couldn't play that, so then I got to play softball, and I got met him, and he had been an avid softball player. He took me out to the park, and I took throws, couldn't catch, couldn't hit, all I could do was run. Took that, and 30, 40 years later, still trying to play softball. So that's, you know, other than that, there's been a lot of good people out there along the way. Like Mr. Wisconsin, Mike Dickey, absolutely. All right, that's it.
All right, appreciate it, brother.
Yeah, hey, you stop it.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, next up is Miss Beverly. Come on, Beverly, come on with it. Give us yours.
Well, CW, my person that really impacted me, I would say, is Miss Marty Faye Johnson there in Dallas. And she coached and sponsored many teams in Texas. But the one that I played on for her was Dynamite Sports. Shirley Snell and I started to play for her in 1998. And we played for her up until the time of her passing. And Miss Johnson had such a love for the game of softball, as well as the love for her players. There was nothing that she wouldn't do for her team. She supported us, rain, sleet, snow, hail, whatever was going on. It was a game, whether it was Dynamite Sports, whether it was the Drifters, the Tigerettes, it didn't matter. Miss Johnson was a trooper. We truly miss her. We love her. And there'll never be another Marty Faye Johnson.
All
That's
right,
the person that impacted me.
I know it. I feel the same.
All right, appreciate it. Miss Johnson. Okay, all right. Talk to you.
All righty. Okay.
Bye.
Bye. All right, our next participant is one of the coolest pitchers that I can remember, Miss Leslie Carey. You got the floor.
Hey,
Go
y'all.
ahead.
Well, I would like to say I started young, and when I started on the field,
I wasn't no pitcher, I know that. CW told me to sit down, get on the bench and sit down. So I watched people play all the time, and I knew I could do it. But it's just like when you humble yourself and you realize that it's not your turn yet. And we taught me that. And as I sat on that bench and I watched the older women play, it was my turn. And then when it was my turn, I was able to go out and show the people exactly what I could do. Whit made me a pitcher. But to sum it up, after I pitched and started playing with so many different teams, I kept saying, we want Leslie to pitch. I thought I was the number one pitcher. And then I ran into Ray. Little Ray. Ray said, Leslie, I want you to pitch my kind. And Ray taught me how to pitch fast, and a lot of women didn't like that. But I thank God for Ray. I thank God for Whit, because they actually impacted my life as a pitcher. And I thought I was the number one pitcher. I probably still could be the number one pitcher, even though y'all might look at other pitchers and say, no, that was our pitcher. She can pitch. But I've pitched for 3 or 4 different other teams. So I do want to say, to piggyback, Whit taught me how to pitch, and he taught me how to humble myself, and Ray continued that as I played with him as well.
Well, you were one of the best. Trust me.
Thank
All right,
you.
appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, all right, I got one more. Let's bring on one of the favorite Park babies. Tanya Super, you got the floor. It's your time to speak.
Okay, so I would like to express that the two, I was impacted by a lot of softball players and had people that I looked up to and that I admired game, but the two people that I chose that impacted my life the most was because they were not only good softball players, they were good friends on and off the field. I would like to start first with C.W. Whitaker, and I say C.W. Whitaker because not only was he was my mom's best friend and many other people's best friend, but he was just a beautiful person on and off the field. He was a pitcher. He could play anywhere on the field. He could coach anywhere on the field, and he can coach you through life too. It was something that valuable that CW said to me that helped me through life in general. Just I hear his voice every time I'm going through anything that I think I'm going through. He said to me one day,
Let me tell you what it is. Don't sweat the small stuff, because it's all small stuff.
yes. When I tell you, when I think I'm at my worst and at my wit's end, that pops up in my head. I remember that he didn't know that it had an impact on me, and that was something that I took. But it did. It really did, and it helped me. It helped me whenever I think I just can't take no more. I can't go further. I'm in my wit's end. It pop up in my head, and then I think about it, that we don't take none of this stuff when we die, and, these people that hurt you or whatever you go through, it's small because it doesn't mean anything, because we are only here to serve one purpose. And so that was really powerful for me. And beyond that, everyone know my mom passed. I was 15 at the time, but I was 11 when she first got sick. CW got together, did fundraisers for my mom so that, we can be looked after even as she,
whether she survived or not, because she did lose her job and went on disability and everything else then, but he was just there. I mean, he was, helping my grandmother after she passed, paying my senior fees and, asking me if I needed anything, just randomly calling just to see how we were doing. And it was much after, even to this day, he still, when I went into the hospital, I got caught COVID, he was calling, check, hey baby, you okay? He took my family, I had several kids, and he takes them to the fair every year, and he gives us tickets and to shows, and just keeping life, going for people that was around. Just a beautiful person, always there, always giving, always helping hand, giving wisdom, giving back to the community. And anybody that you have a relationship with, you watch. If you watch them long enough, you will learn that you are having a relationship with them, and you will eventually fall in love with them if you watch them enough. And Whit was a person that I watched from yay high up until now, that I continue to watch, because I wanted to always give myself a friend who was like CW. I look for in friends people like CW. So that was the main person that impacted my life, and that's just not even in softball. That's in life in general. But and another person was Lynn Jelks. Even though like he was more like CW, still to this day, he helped me with school after my mom had passed. He would check on my grandmother, my aunt, who was my grandmother's power of attorney. He became friends with my aunt Renee, and he helped her help us get taken care of, until we finished school. And still right now to this day, if I call in and say, hey, my car broke down, he coming. Whatever it is, he just been there. And when I was playing for the Hawkettes, he would come get me. Now, mind you, my coach was Bell, but he would come get me out of practice and take me to the batting cage off in Cedar Hill and try to teach me how to bat, correctly, because he knew that I was just using all my power. But he would say, you don't have to do all that. You don't have to force it like that. And he would teach me how to bat. And so that was another person who played softball that impacted my life. Now, granted, I did see other people that I threw out, like the Cynthias and Rhondas and Repo and a bunch of my mama's other friends who, would check and say, hey, baby, how you doing? And just keep up with me a little bit, but nothing like CW and Lynn.
Well, I'm going to tell you, one of the biggest things I can remember is the smile on your face and your brother's face when y'all went to Disney World.
Yes. Oh, my God. That was so huge, because that was the first time on a plane. That was our first time vacationing as a family. And it was so huge to know
so many
that
people donated to that.
Oh my God, it was just a huge story. We got to be on the news with that story too, I think. Yeah. It was big. It was a really big thing. And even then, I think we had another fundraiser, like at a church. It was a lot of people showed up to that. When CW was hosting it, and gave my mama a plaque of excellence as a softball player and stuff, and just expressing his love for her as a player, and having I think he was telling the story. This is when I first learned that my mom hit a home run and stopped at second base. They called a lazy Loretta. And they used to get mad because my mama didn't want to run all them bases, and that's when that was a really good day. And It was so much. It's so much with these two here, and it's been so much with them, and they have showed me how to be a friend, how to be a giver, how to be a lover, how to maneuver, and I needed to be taught those things. Having, my mom being gone and my dad being gone, I needed that, and they didn't know it. They didn't. It was natural. So that was a beautiful thing. They were beautiful people. They are still beautiful people, and I am grateful to have them a part of my life.
Well, you
and even if I never could repay them for all the things that they do, I pray that God would just give them bountiful blessings and make their life more fulfilling than I ever could.
Well, let me tell you can't be God-given. The more we give, the more we get. And
Right.
I'm so proud of Lynn and what he did. And so with that, I got to say this was a very fantastic interview.
Thank you.
And I will love you forever.
And I love you too.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, next on the call is Cece, and she has some story to tell. Go ahead, Cece.
Okay. When I lived in Alabama, I used to play ball with a lady named Tina. And Tina's daughters were playing with us on the team. So she's a much older lady. And whenever we needed runs, she would go in back. And she hit the ball to the fence, but she was big and she couldn't run.
Oh, Lord.
She hit that ball to the fence, and then she just stand there and holler, "Run, y'all, run! Run, y'all, run!" So at that point, I made up my mind that I was gonna play as long as I could. That age, wasn't gonna be a factor, and I was gonna try to play as long as I could.
So how long did you play?
I played last year. I was 69.
69 and doing fine.
Yeah, I'm trying to play one more. My goal was 70. And my birthday was in May, but we got, we went under quarantine before then, so I didn't get to play last year. So yeah, I didn't play last year, I played the year before that. So I'm hoping I can get at least one game in without killing myself. So I can achieve that goal. And other person that I look up to is my baby sister Angie. We played together off and on for a million years. She, I like to play with her because she's always telling me no matter how hard it's hit, how far it's hit, just keep running and just throw your glove up. You never know what'll fall in it. And she would always encourage the kids that we played with out in the outfield. She'd be out there running, run, go, keep going, throw your glove up, throw it up, and whatnot. So I used to, love to watch her play out there with them because she'd always have them run their little tongues out.
All right. Well, I appreciate that. All right, friends, we got one of the park babies on the line, better known as Tutu. Tutu.
Hey.
All right, you can tell us your two favorites from back in the day that impacted your life in softball.
Okay, my two favorites that impacted my life in softball has definitely got to be, of course, you Wit, and of course my mom. I said your name first because everybody knows that you're not my biological dad, but you have been a very important person in my life. And to me, that's always important because, it's easy for parents to step up and, take care of responsibilities, but you don't expect that from someone who's not. And you were not just a good person to me, but you were a good person to everybody, to all of the people, all the kids, everybody out there. So you're just a genuine good person. And just looking at the way you treated people, it just impacted me to want to be like that. And of course, my mom is a phenomenal person, and she's impacted me all my life as a woman. She's a wonderful woman, and she is similar to you because she also has an awesome heart, and she's great with people. So when I look at people who inspires me, I look at their heart and I look at how they treat people. And the way you guys treat people is just amazing. So I really like that about y'all.
Well, you know, you almost got this tear. Let me dry this tear out of my eye. Now, one other thing before I know you got to get out the line, but one other thing, tell us about what you do in your family now.
What I do in my family, well, I am a mother of 3. I have a 17-year-old, a 12-year-old, and I have a 2-year-old. So I have one that's at the house, and I got one that's running the house. And one of the most important things to me, besides giving my kids, letting them know Jesus and introducing them to God, is time. I don't think you can ever get time back, and it goes too fast. So it's really important to me that I spend time with my 17-year-old and figure out what's going on in his mind, my 12-year-old, and my 2-year-old. So time, to me, is one of the most important things.
Well, we appreciate you, and I know you got to run. So thank you so much for the words of wisdom.
Well, thank you for having me.
All right, love you. Bye-bye.
Love you too. Bye-bye.
Okay, report, it's your time. Go.
Well, my softball player that influenced me would be Earl Williams when I was with the Diamond Queen. And the reason why I say her, because of his work ethic. He was military, and he had us doing so many strange workouts, like chasing the ball way over your head, diving, throwing it in a trash can, on the ground, get up and go catch the ball. And during that time, I thought he was crazy. But over the years, as I learned more about softball, I appreciate all his work ethics and his system. Now, my mentor would have to be C.W. Whitaker. And that is not because I dated him. It's because over time, I got to see how really warm and a good person that he is. He's a good father. He's a good man. He's a good coach. He has good work ethics. He cares about other people. He cares about his family. I like the way he just helps other people that he don't even know. If there's any way or any information that he have where he can bless somebody else, he looks for those opportunities. And I just love him for that. He set a good example of how a man of God is supposed to be. And that's all I have to say about that.
Okay, let me get these tears out of my eyes. I appreciate it.
No, that's just the truth. You know, I've always told you that.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, our next person up is Snoopy. Come on, Snoopy.
All right. Okay, I started playing softball when I was 14 in Arkansas. So I have this lady, her name is Joyce. She was such an inspiration to me. She had me grow up to be a lady. And she was like a big sister to me, even though I had like 12 of those things. And yeah, she always guided me. She taught me how to drive, you know. Even though she was much older, and she was showing me all the ropes of our life and how everything goes around in life. And I got a good inspiration from her because she was always there for me. And today, she's still there for me. If I have any problems,
right.
She's always. That's good enough.
That's a wonderful testimony. And I'm sure a lot of people want to be just like her. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for the great infield outfielder, Miss K.O. K.O., the floor is yours.
Well, thank you, C.W., Coach C.W. I'd like to share with everyone the person that has made an impact on my life, especially from my softball career. I played early on underneath the leadership of Robert Marshall, better known as Bob, Big Bob. Bob was the coach for the Slam co-ed softball team, so I got my start on the co-ed side.
Bob was a really tough coach. He was fun to play for and to be with. He made sure he didn't take it easy on us in practice. He was responsible for me being a tough first baseman / dual outfielder. I could play anywhere in the outfield, and I played first base. Bob hit the ball over your head, in front of you. He forced you to really work on your speed, to go chase, get the ball if he hit it over your head. When I was playing first base, he deliberately hit the ball in the hole to help you work on your backhand, on your glove side. And, you know, he would tell us in practice, you know, be ready, because I'm not going to hit it to you soft. I'm going to hit it to you just like one of the guys would hit it to you that's playing co-ed. So that really made me tough. That made me not be afraid of the ball, and to really, no matter who it was, female, male, to really play the ball. So I really appreciate that from him. He was also the person who would take us to his home, feed us. We'd hang out. We had a lot of good camaraderie amongst the team. He was our leader. We just fellowshiped with his family, and we were like family. We spent a lot of time together, and that meant quite a bit to me. So I thank Bob for that. The female that has made an impact in my life would be one of my team members once I started to play ball with Peer Class. As I mentioned before, I started on the co-ed circuit, and one day CW saw me playing in the church league, and he was going to be short of some players for a major tournament and asked if I would come and help, and I agreed to do so, not knowing really any of the ladies on the team with the exception of one, Repo. So I went and I played with them in the Greater Southwest tournament, and I actually played under Cynthia Simpson's name at the time. And I actually made the local newspaper slide me in at second base safe, as it is. I want to make that point. I was safe. But that's where I got my start playing with Peer Class in terms of playing on that team. Early on, I was a little disappointed because I thought, okay, Whit would put me at the end of the batting order. And I thought, you know, I'm looking at some of the ladies on the team thinking, okay, I cannot hit some of them. Why is he always putting me at the end? And he actually pulled me over to the side and said, K.O., I'm not putting you at the end of the batting order because I don't have any confidence or I don't think you can bat. He said, you have the ability to get on base, and I need people on base when it gets back to the top of my lineup. Those people need something to hit for. They need some motivation. And when he said that to me, then I was okay whenever he put me down at the bottom of the lineup. You know, I was going to get on base. I was going to get on base so that they could move me around, so that they had someone or something to hit for. So that was very instrumental to me in my career. I appreciate him in the practices that we had. I was a right side hitter. Consistently, I hit the ball to the right side of the field. And when I started playing with Peer Class, number one, Patsy made me put that heavy bat down and told me I need you to turn on the ball. So I started learning how to hit to the left side. But in practice, Whit would work with us, and he would make us hit to the right side behind your runner, up the middle in case we needed to. Sometimes people talk trash to our pitcher or hit at our pitcher, then we had to retaliate. It is what it is. It was a showdown at the OK Corral. You hit my pitcher, I'm going to hit your pitcher. So that's the way it went down. He taught us how to pull the ball, hit to the left side, and Patsy was so competitive. Everybody knows she's probably one of the best shortstops that ever played women's softball co-ed, but she was so competitive, you know, she didn't want anybody to be safe at no time. So when I played first base, if they took one step off of first base, she would fire that ball over there to me, and if I missed the ball, you know, her words was, big girl, I need you to be ready. I need you to be ready, because if she step off that base, I'm coming. And I was like, okay, I got it. So I wanted to do good. I wanted to turn those double plays for her as a teammate. And over the years, we turned a lot of double plays, whether we were playing in the church league for Peer Class or whomever. If we got picked up by someone else, we turned a lot of double plays. And I learned how to scoop the ball out of the dirt playing for CW, because I didn't always know how to do that really well. but I did get that experience. But anytime I went and played with Patsy, she was so competitive, it made me want to step my game up. And if I happened to be batting behind her and someone walked her to get to me, that made me mad. And I'm thinking, hell, I can hit just as well as she can. She's good, but hell, I'm good too. So don't underestimate me. So she would say to me, big girl, you see what they're doing, don't you? You need to make that count. You need to make that hurt.
Make them
And
pay.
I would always say, oh, I got it. And I would come through. On several occasions. So I was like, yeah, won't Patsy, come to me. I want you to come to me. I got to the point where I wanted the bat in my hand. I wasn't afraid to be on the line with 2 outs, the bases loaded. That didn't bother me. You know, they said pressure burst the pipe. I'm going to be the one that bursts the pipe because I'm going to clear them bases and I'm going to get my cell phone looking for somebody to bring me home. But I appreciate Patsy with her leadership, her competitiveness, and she was always willing to go practice with you and help you out. So I appreciate that about her, and I appreciate the mentorship that Bob provided me. And it goes without saying, my coach, CW, who showed a lot of support over the years, gave me the experience, the chance to improve my game and to become a great first baseman. Thank
and
you,
you did
CW.
just that. Okay, next on the list to talk about one of your impact players, coach, fans, is Amy. So Amy, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you, Whit. So throughout the years, I've been on the softball park, and I'm going to tell my age in a minute, but I've been on the softball park 44 years. 44 years I've been out there on the softball park. And the people that most inspired me was Bell from the Hawkettes. Played for Bell a lot of years. Bell was a great inspiration. He loved gospel. He clowned just like me. And then Miss J. Miss Johnson has always been in my corner. Do or die, Miss Johnson was in my corner. And we can all attest to that. I also have Lynn Jelks in my corner. Always. CW, although I've never played for CW, but CW was always in my corner and still is, y'all. So don't be hating on me at CW. But then I have to remember that Manuel K. Manuel K is, again, one of those that's in my corner and has always been and is still there. I'm going to name a coach that's off the scene, but he's always supported me. These are people that I can always depend on. Kelvin Turner. I love all of these people. Gloria, you're a big inspiration also. But y'all, God is the best. God has been good to me throughout the years, through the storms, the rain. That man has never left me. And he's put these people in my life as a blessing over 44 years. And I'm just excited to still be able to hang out here on the parks with you all. And, just still be able to come out there. All right? I love you all. God bless you. Thank you, CW, for doing what you do to keep us all uplifted and the way you reach out to everybody. We really appreciate you. All right. Love y'all.
Amen.
Talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Amen.
Okay.
Hello, everybody. This is Clint, a.k.a. Baby Whit, the original Park Baby. Yeah, I can make claim to that. The last time some of you guys seen me, I had an orange afro or red afro. It's been replaced by a bald head and a lot of gray hair. But getting to the subject at hand, the softball player that impacted my life the most, and a lot of you might say, oh, that's obvious. You're going to say his dad. Yeah, I'm going to say C.W. Whitaker, a.k.a. Whit. That's the softball player that impacted my life the most. But let me go into detail and explain why. I watched him as a coach and as a player, instill in the people team building and working together and working hard and practicing winning. I watched that and observed that as a child. And I've seen this man, throughout my life, practice those same principles in the community, helping people win, helping people achieve their goals, helping inspire, in others greatness. That impacted my life. So, I work in the park and rec department. Sometimes I do Beckley. So I have my guys, hey, let's do a good job on Beckley, because you never know how that's going to impact somebody's life, or what memory is going to be formed as somebody play or enjoy the work that you did. They might never ever see it. You might never ever get credit for it, but you can feel good when you've done a good job and it impacted somebody's life, or somebody formed a good memory that's going to last for a long time. So that's the kind of impact I try to do in my business and in my job. I just wanted to get on here and say hello and talk to everybody and tell you why I feel the way I feel, and substantiate everything that I said, because most of you, anybody that knows Whit, know that everything I'm saying is true. So it's not all about baseball, softball, or sports, or entertainment, or your business. It's about what you inspire in other people, and helping people achieve their goals, and bringing something out of them that they thought they could never do or achieve, no matter how small it is. In the long run, it teaches them to grasp for something bigger than they think they could accomplish on their own. So all people need is just a little coaching. And that's why he impacted my life, because that's the way I treat people. I help people achieve their goals. And that's my mark that I'm going to leave on this earth. And before I get out of here, I want to, I'm grateful for this group and what you guys are doing. I might not be very vocal in this group, but I am watching and observing, as you know. And it brings back warm memories. So the people that's not here, they are still here because they live on in our memories. They live on in our hearts. And I'm very grateful for what you guys are doing on this page. God keep you. God bless you. And good night.